Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Very last day in the month of October. It's so significant, kind of like as if there hasn't been any 31st day in of some few months. But I don't know. It just tilts into the fact that the year's running to an end. But then, good morning to you wherever you are. Welcome to Morning Spring right here from Western Spring Television, the only station that says it as it is. And going back to the fact that today is the 31st day in the month of October, it is the last Morning Spring for the month of October. So I don't know, it corroborates, and it's so nice to be here once again. Welcoming you on behalf of the entire transmission production team. Promises, as always, to be very, very exciting. Today, it will surely be. Tornado is my name at Irresistible TD on X. Femi, happy end of the month. Happy
I'm sure
end
that
of the
made me unaware. As a happy end of the month, not happy.
No,
all right,
so-
happy end of the month.
Yeah, exactly.
And then by tomorrow it will be happy new month. So,
yeah.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. But hi, Chief Tunde. I'm sure you wanted to say something. Maybe you should go all out because the situation in which you keep hammering that the 1st of October is corroborates what? What's going on here?
Yeah, it's the end of the month.
Are you leaving the country? Is it just about the end of the month?
All right, but you've not mentioned your name yet.
Once again, good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. And it's good to be back here to know that you are here with us, at least for the past 10 months this year. You have stuck with us. You really stuck with us. Thank you for being always there on all our programs, especially this one, Morning Spring, where we look at critical and topical issues, trendy ones in the nation, and sometimes beyond the shores of this nation of ours. Good people, great nation, called Nigeria is what we do at this time. Firstly, we look at the stories that have made its way to the papers, the major dailies for today. And of course, at the other side of that, we then get talking about these issues. Femi Ojo is my name. Thank you for being here with us. And you can follow us on all our social media platforms. And we are live on our YouTube page at Western Spring Television, which you have a real-time experience of what we are doing here. Thank you. And of course, many things happened yesterday.
Yeah,
quite an eventful day. Yesterday was quite an eventful day. You know, the presidential candidate of the PDP, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, had a World Press Conference.
Yeah.
You know, to speak on the Supreme Court judgment, and he has his views. You know, he spoke in a manner that he feels, you know, brings out his thoughts, and it was about the Supreme Court judgment, definitely. And he, you know, got some loopholes, spoke about some loopholes in that. And in fact, very strong words were used in some of the papers, which you can use here, by the way. But then mostly is about what happened in River State. It was quite an eyesore.
I listened to...
And it started very early in the day.
Yeah. I listened to the governor, whereby he said some police officers shot... Fubara, the governor of River State, that some police officers shot directly at him. And I wonder, the whole governor died on one side.
Yes.
It has been tagged that some of the loyalists of the former governor, Nyesom Wike, who's now the FCT minister now, are the ones behind this. Loyalists to Wike, probably he's done something wrong. I don't know. But
it's a lot.
It's quite a whole lot. I listened to something, I think probably when Fubara won the election, where former governor of Ekiti State was there and made mention of the fact that, look, don't annoy Wike, don't fight Wike.
It's not about saying learn how to look away. Don't look too far. Don't look too much.
You know, I had to rewatch and watch that.
What you think that's what's playing out now?
I think that's what's for me.
Yeah.
That what could Fubara have done? This is October,
Yeah.
May, October. All of a sudden, you're beginning to have issues. What could have led to that, whereby you had gotten an impeachment
It has
notice?
degenerated to that level. And it's really sad to hear that it started. We learned there was a fire that got at the House of Assembly. And then the governor went there. You know, sometimes some of these stories depend on who you're asking, when they have to see the extent of what is happening. And as it was, you know, at the state House of Assembly, you know, the issue degenerated, and then we are hearing impeachment notice being prepared against him. Many things happen, not just and then you could see water cannons being fired at the direction of the governor. And many persons were shouting, do you want to kill our governor? Who are the ones behind? And then you're wondering, the persons, you know, firing the water cannons, definitely it was a police van, truck. Did they know that it was a governor that was passing? Because you can imagine, if they know who gave them the go-ahead to fire a water cannon
On a
at
governor.
the state governor, the number one person in that state, where did the order come from? Or then, maybe they don't know because it was done in just a T-shirt and a jean with a cap. You know,
I wouldn't
it's a
subscribe.
lot.
I wouldn't subscribe to the fact that they don't know.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's like I'm trying to look at for. Let me just say, even if it's a member of the House of Assembly, you definitely will know that. No, this is an important
Especially with
personality
the paraphernalia
of security
of
people
that
around.
followed him.
No
And he had
mat-
to be ducking and
do you know-
dodging, and the thing was being
No
fired.
matter what could have happened, I felt those shooting the water cannons there's a leader that would always want to interface
This is a
with
governor.
and get to know what's happening. Why are you now firing? Why?
It
there's
was
quite a
an
whole lot.
anomaly today. And then
it
the
should.
politics of the House of Assembly itself, we learned the majority leader was removed.
Yeah, because the loyalist to
Honorable
Fubara.
AE,
Yeah.
and then some persons, you know, maybe 22 or 23 out of the House of Assembly members moved for impeachment, and we learned later the same is Honorable AE was now being sworn in as the Speaker of the House at another, you know, at another venue. The question people were asking was the mace there, because the mace is the symbol of power.
Obviously.
And many persons will say this is not entirely new. We saw what played out not quite long at the Edo State when, you know, the fracas that happened there. Governor Obaseki,
And his
you know,
deputy.
being threatened with impeachment, and then it was on that day that they remembered that they needed to
have the mace there.
you know, to you know renovate the House of Assembly. The ceiling was removed. Some sand were you know offloaded at the
goodness.
entrance. It's a lot, and it speaks to our political system in Nigeria and this issue about predecessors and their successors.
Godfatherism.
Yeah, godfatherism and governors that are going out having some of their prodigies put in place. And after some time, you see the prodigy of the said former governor having a running battle. We have been here before, but then it doesn't make much sense because many persons will think, is this all we are? Has there nothing changed? This has been happening before 2023. And then this is where we are. You could see the governor, Simi Fubara, saying he's not threatened. If he's impeached, it won't be the first to be impeached. It won't be the last. But then it will stand for a wrong process to be done against him. And if time permits, we might get to look into these and maybe in our subsequent programs as well. But you know, just to bring you up to speed with what has happened so far.
Absolutely.
Democracy, democracy, democracy. Is there a Nigerian version of democracy? Because it's looking
This
like
is
it.
the Nigerian version. That's
All
what that's what it's playing out, and that's what we're saying. And I would just want to say that you could definitely get to hear what exactly is happening in River State on our sister station on the program Frank Talk by 9 a.m. this morning.
All right.
Our colleague will be speaking with somebody from River State to give us an insight as to what exactly is going on in
there.
River State.
Of course,
All right?
it's the Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. We take a short break. When we come back, we dive right to the papers. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Let's begin to serve you some of the stories we have from the various dailies for today, and quite a whole lot. I have the Punch newspaper. I'll kick things up from the pages of the Punch newspaper for today. And just as we rightly told you during our introduction there was a world press conference put together by the former vice president and the presidential candidate of the PDP during the 2023 presidential election. Now, it has a big bold headline there, and it says, "Retire now. Presidency tells Atiku. Ex-VP rubbishes Supreme Court's judgment." A couple of writer is associated to that story. It says, "Apex Court legitimizes illegality. Atiku insists, urges INEC to verify credentials. Atiku's presidential ambition doomed. Ex-VP desperate, says APC presidency." Femi, whatever. Should Atiku, at this point in time, should Atiku retire? What do you make of that?
That would be his personal decision to make. He's a Nigerian.
And he's entitled to...
He's entitled to run for office.
But
So
by and
that
large,
yeah.
looking at some of the statements credited to some people from PDP that, look, Oga, give us space now. He's been there severally up from one party to the other door. But now, with this, some people are saying, Oga, retire now. But then...
That will be his decision.
We'll see
we have to consult with his family and then to see if actually
supporters.
he still has, but the last time I checked, still a Nigerian. That's all.
Moving further down, the picture you're seeing there, that's the picture of the governor of Rivers State, who was at the State Assembly complex to check out what was happening after the fire incident. But by Allah, it turned out to be something else. You saw him, and there are police officers there where he was chit-chatting with. But you have the headline there. It says, "River Assembly in crisis as Wike's loyalists move to impeach Fubara." All right. Other stories still making the rounds. Ohaneze, Soludo mourns as legal icon. Nwabueze dies at 94. All right. Taraba governor mounts 100 boat accident victims, orders probe. This same probe is just my concern.
It's tiring to keep hearing. Probe into what? The last time this thing happened, there was a probe. The month before, there was a probe.
My goodness.
And now it has happened again. There is a probe. Onto what? What's the reason? To what end?
It's
Why don't we prevent? We know where these things happen.
Exactly.
Why don't you give them life jacket? Why don't you confiscate that particular venue or that harbor if actually they won't follow safety standard? They all know these things. As a Ministry of Transportation, and there are people in charge.
Femi,
things go awkward, and then we talk about probe.
That's just my concern here as well.
And then government is mourning 100 people. And when it's not just that 100. When you see the ripple effect of when people lose their loved ones, you can't quantify the effect at all.
We're talking about human lives here. I remember a couple of weeks ago when I lost a couple of birds. I know how I felt that these are birds. Not to not talk about 100 human lives.
These are people's fathers, people's wives, people's children. You can't, I can't, quantify the loss. It's just about that 100, but then it's far beyond.
Can't they look into this, the means of transportation, look at the object being used to carry, to lift these people? Are they
safety standard?
Are they in good standard? Are they, I just keep hating the aspect where I keep saying probe.
Probing what?
What will be the outcome?
What do you do with the probe?
Moving to the top strip of the Punch newspaper still, Tinubu canvasses 2 trillion naira discos recapitalization tariff review. And federal government approves 2.2 trillion naira supplementary budget. 70 corpses, skeletons uncovered near Abia cattle market. That's credited to the governor there. 70. Wow. That'll be all from the pages of the Punch newspaper for today.
Straight to the Daily Times. The Daily Times for today. With the story from Rivers State, boldly written there, what the governor said. Cop shot at me. Cop shot at me. Rivers governor. Tear gas him. Smoke and Gulf State Assembly access, another rider. Lawmaker Safu Bara impeachment notice. Another writer says Clark fingers Wike asked Tinubu to discipline minister. That's very referred Edwin Clark, one of the leaders, the referred leaders in the Niger Delta. All right, and you can see the picture there, scene of the River State House of Assembly chamber allegedly hit by an explosion on Sunday night. All right, and moving on, Atiku claims Supreme Court legalized illegalities, fears for democracy. That's from Atiku Abubakar. And with a couple of riders here, insist it will not flee Nigeria, proposes 6-year single-term rotational presidency, compulsory electronic transmission of results, dispensing with poll litigations before inauguration orders, go away, terminate your presidential ambition, presidency replies in all of these today, dispensing with poll litigations before inauguration. A good call? Like every litigation concerning an election
must have been concluded. I think it's going to strengthen our institution, and it's going to strengthen governance in Nigeria because it's difficult. Majorly, when it comes to the presidential position. Yeah, thank you. There, it's very difficult. But in a very more developed nation, it shouldn't be. Yeah. What has to be done must be done and done appropriately.
The institutions are working independently.
We're not there yet in Nigeria, seriously, because all the time, as a media person, we just kept following and to see what the outcome of the Supreme Court. But Nigerians already knew where this will end. If possibly before every election, before every swearing in, the litigations, the appeals, the judge, everything has been resolved. We know where we go.
I think many persons will say thumb up to that.
Honestly,
that litigations must be done with before the inauguration is done. So at least the person that will be announced finally, the Supreme Court giving a verdict, won't be distracted by any reason. But this requires constitutional amendment, a huge one. But it's not just by mere wishes, by the way. It's a constitutional thing. You know, it's a process, by the way. Moving on, FEC okay's decision on a supplementary budget of 2.2 trillion naira for defense and security. Teenage robbers on the rise in Delta State. Why? You got to pick up a copy of this paper to know why teenage robbers are on the rise in Delta State. And Senate uncovers payment of unapproved 14 billion naira salary increment at the Mint. Took that again. Senate uncovers payment of unapproved 14 billion naira salary increment at the Mint. Really? Payment of unapproved 14 billion salary increment at the Mint? You mean the minting and printing company? How these happen? The Senate are, investigating that. And we hope we get to hear publicly what really happened there. How over 70 unidentified corpses were discovered in Abia location. Governor, 70. That's
70.
That's grouse, really. Oil price to average $90 per barrel for 2024. Dips 3% on Monday. That all report. That will be all from the front page of the Daily Times.
And quickly, let me go straight to the front page of the Nigerian Tribune for today. You have the big bold caption, Mayhem in Rivers. From the Nigerian Tribune, Mayhem in Rivers. Quite a whole lot of stakeholders. Stakeholders allege Wike Fubara at war. Suspected thugs set House of Assembly ablaze. House removes majority leader, serves governor with impeachment notice. Tell me why you want to impeach me. That's credited to the governor. Another faction elects new speaker. Police deploy water cannon, tear gas to disperse protesting youths. Governor affected. Call Wike to order. Edwin Clark tells presidency. Does Wike have a hand in this? Please pick up a copy of the various dailies, and you will be fed with the full details of that. And police arrest 2 pupils for setting school property ablaze. Why would you do that? And 70 bodies found in Abia community. Okay. History will vindicate me over Supreme Court judgment. That's credited to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar speaking there. And you have writers associated to that story. Struggle for democracy should now be led by younger generation, he says. He also advocates 6-year single tenure rotational presidency to prevent regional gang up. Okay, be a statement and congratulate Tinubu. APC tells Atiku. Right. And on the top strip of the same daily for today, third quarter of 2023, you want to know more about banking, it's what has happened there, you'll find it there. And Tinubu passes vote of confidence in Gbajabiamila. There's been so much story about that, probably, but he has come out to clarify, look, I fully have faith in my chief of staff.
Yeah, well, you know, it's always a thing of common sense for you to know wherever the discussion of vote of confidence is being passed, your principal or people around you saying we pass a vote of confidence in you, you know there was an issue. There must have been an issue. There is an issue. If somebody needs to come out and say, you guys, go away. I know who
I am dealing with.
I'm dealing with, and I believe him. So the issue, many allegations, by the way, but you know, it's quite a highly placed or exalted position. Maybe not really recognized by our laws, but then the influence that the chief of staff wields is quite immense.
You know,
many persons want that post as well.
You must be very close to whoever has made you a chief of staff.
Of course. And it's a position of trust. Absolute trust.
A very big one. I know what it looks like. I've had an uncle who's been there. So,
you know, they are called the gatekeepers.
Look,
they allow you in if they want you.
That's where I was coming to. If they want you to
keep you off, if they think you don't have the business with their principal. And I remember the former, the late chief of staff now, so Abba Kyari. And when persons were saying doesn't address the press, and really it was a very private person by the way, but quite influential, and he made the people, and many persons don't like him. When he passed away, and it was the time for the former chief of staff, Gambari, he made it, you know, that statement, and he said, I work for the president. When people are saying you work for the Nigerian people, you should know, and truly it doesn't work for the people.
Because constitutionally,
it works for the president. It was the is the chief of staff to the president. And so that's a position of trust. Now we have former Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila there,
as the chief
and
of
possibly
staff.
Many things are happening, but the boss, the principal, has come out to say, you guys,
leave him alone.
I don't care.
I
trust this guy.
But you know, there's definitely no way that even as much as you try to hide something for a while, somehow, we'll still get to know.
But that's not what we are saying here.
No. Okay. I know they're having it real good. Well, we wish Femi Gbajabiamila and his principal the very best. And the last story making the rounds still from the Nigerian Tribune, Ohaneze leader Nwabweze dies. Tinubu, others mourn. That'll be all from the pages of the Nigerian Tribune.
And lastly, we go to The Nation newspaper, Truth in Defense of Freedom. And of course, definitely the story from Rivers State. Rivers quakes as governor gets impeachment notice. Rivers quakes as governor gets impeachment notice. Riders assembly split into 2. Faction sacks CJ. And that's it. Many persons have lost their job. If the story from Rivers State is anything to go by, we even learned the local government chairman have all been sacked as well. Fubara fires Wike's loyalist, says, I can't be impeached. Wow. That sounds like a confident governor there. And then a couple of things, you know, statements attributed to some persons. Amawele, it is unfortunate that the government is attacking the legitimate institution of the state, thereby causing crisis and confusion. We cannot sit and allow that as Amawele. And If Siminalayi Fubara is impeached, I won't be the first, neither will I be the last. But what is important is that any attempt that is not justified will be resisted. That's Fubara, the governor. And my commitment to Rivers people is that I will be fair and just to all and sundry, and I will ensure that the rule of law take its course. I will not betray my colleagues. That's Honorable A, who was impeached as the majority leader, who has now been, instituted as, elected as the River State House of Assembly Speaker in the other faction. There are two factions now having two different speaker. Interesting days ahead, by the way. Moving on, Atiku slams Supreme Court over election verdict, saying APC. Now, APC is telling him he is delusional. Of course, interesting politics and politicking there, right? And options before Atiku. Time for ex-VP to end presidential ambition. Lamentations of Oluza. Interesting ones. And then you have a picture of the governor of Ogun State, Governor Dapo Abiodun, flanked by different persons of interest, the unveiling of, I think, CNG-powered buses, quite, some crowd there gathered with him, saying CNG buses will revolutionize transport sector. That's coming from the Ogun State Governor, Governor Dapo Abiodun. All right, the bottom strip, Saudi hospital to separate Kano conjoined twins. And Ayedati were back in court. Interesting. And Bayelsa, Imo, Kogi 2023. Security agencies will ensure credible elections. That's good to hear. Badu promise, that's coming from the NSA. Walk the talk. Imo students endorse Uzodinma's re-election bid. Alt favor Diri, says Ikilgwa. More defections to APC in Kogi. Yeah, of course, it's next month. The gubernatorial elections, the officer elections there in Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa. Top strip, FEC OKs 2.17 trillion 2023 Supreme Court budget, supplementary budget rather, beg your pardon, supplementary budget, 5.9 billion for FCT reach. Nigeria, Germany signs $700 billion solid minerals exploration pact, and that will be all from the front page of the Nation for today. And on this segment still, so we take a break right now. When we come back, we get to look at what some have tagged an elephant in the room, the Japa situation, predisposing factor, and then at the other side, is the grass always greener? Is it worth the millions being spent? Is it worth the ambition? Many things that we will talk about this morning. Quite, it will be a very quiet and interesting one. Please stay with us.
Welcome back at this moment in time. The conversation is just about to begin right here from Western Spring Television. The program, if you just join in and wondering, what program is this? It is Morning Spring, and this happens every weekday, Mondays through Fridays. Kicks off by 7 a.m. Today, one major thing that has been ravaging the country of late is the aspect at which every Nigerian, most especially the younger ones, thinking of, hey, I have to japa. The japa syndrome, what does this mean? What are the consequences attached to this? Is this a role leadership has failed to look into and to find a way around? If we have to look at the status and the space at which we have very amazing doctors who have jackpot out of the country for better, greener pastures. Yeah. And just as you rightly said before we went on that break, that is the grass still green? What are the things being looked out for out there that has made so many Nigerians to say, we are leaving the shores of Nigeria? At this point in time, we are actually joined by a veteran international journalist of distinguished repute all the way from New York this morning. Would like to say good morning to Mr. Dotun Onibokun. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well.
Great.
And you, sir?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Good, good,
All right.
good.
Good to have you here.
Good to have you, sir.
And you too, sir.
All right.
Let's look at the states at which this Japa syndrome. I hope you still understand some of our terms here in Nigeria, sir.
I beg your pardon?
I hope you still understand some of our terms here in Nigeria.
Well, some of them I do, yes.
All right. The Japa syndrome is the process at which Nigerians just want to leave the shores of this country, either through the Mediterranean, either way. They just want to leave the shores and come to New York.
An
They want to-
exodus, yeah.
And the exodus of Nigerians living at this state in time is alarming. Is the grass very green out there that has made them say, we're coming over to the other side?
Are you asking me the question now?
Yes, please.
Thank you very much for welcoming me to the program.
It's a pleasure.
And by the way, one of the journalists for BCOS in the good old 1981 through 1984. And a part of the BCOS staff were moved to OSBC, understood, and the same person that established BCOS also established OSBC, and that's by the name Dr. Yemi Farobi. And without Yemi, Dr. Yemi Farobi probably won't be at the station at that particular time. I want to thank him for the opportunity he gave me at that particular time. And when it was time for me to leave the country, like I said, to leave. Now, the question you asked about Japa, it's a language. Well, at the time I went abroad, my parents wanted us to go abroad at that particular time. And really, after education, we all came back. Our parents just ordered us back home, and we came back. But why do many Nigerians want to leave these days? I mean, there are many questions to be asked, and there are many answers to it. But I will summarize it the little way I know. Number one, is there the economic opportunity in Nigeria today? Lack of stable employment and economic opportunity is a significant factor. Many young Nigerians struggle to find well-paying jobs or secure a stable source of income, pushing them to seek better opportunities abroad. But what has happened? Nigeria has money. I guess Nigeria is actually the best African country in the world today. We have the money there today. But where's the money going? To few hands. Why few hands? Just a few politicians, bad politicians, who really does not have the interests of their country at heart. Who are the future of tomorrow? The young ones. I think who are professionals, graduating. Many doctors, for example, you find them in Saudi Arabia, you find them everywhere all over the world. Where Nigerians do not respect their own professionals, the Western countries respect and bring them. Give me one example. The present Biden administration, about 5 Nigerian professionals were embedded into administration. Probably this guy or these guys are in Nigeria, they probably won't give a damn about that. the Western countries recognize potentials. They recognize brains. Nigerians have brains. They're the best in the world. In America today, according to statistics, the most educated people in the United States, they are not whites, they are not Indians, they are Nigerians. Our country is giving up too much to the whole world because we don't care, because of the greed of the few. Those greed of the few who wants to pocket their money and die with it without taking anyone to heaven, deny the young, the youth, the vibrants, the opportunity to help lift that country and develop that country. So that's part of one instance of economic factor. We also have to think of educational pursuits. Nigerian youths are increasingly leaving the country to pursue higher education in foreign countries. This is often due to lack of quality education, limited research opportunity, and desire to gain international exposure. It's not that Nigeria does not have quality university. It's been polluted in the sense that many parents will bribe the lecturers, bribe the dean, just to pass that kid. The children may not be up to standard, but because of the greed and corruption that's embedded into our country, they will pay any price to move their children, to pass them, even if they know nothing upstairs. And this is happening today. I'm sure you, the interviewers, understand exactly what I'm talking about. Let's talk of insecurity. The prevalence of insecurity in Nigeria, particularly in the form of terrorism, kidnappings, and ethnic conflicts, has driven many young people to seek safety environment or safer environments abroad. A lot of diaspora are scared to come home. Why? They're targeted. They think they have dollars. These people are hard workers. Work hard to get their money, because to get $1 in America, you will sweat. So, and look at what is happening today in Nigeria. Nigerian foreign exchange depends on diaspora. The pumping in of dollars to relatives, to the country, is what is helping the country. Because actually, the politicians take the money that is in the country, loot them, and put them in foreign banks to help that overseas countries, whereas the diaspora take their hard currency and bring it to develop the country. If the diasporans decide not to send money to Nigeria, Nigeria will be in real serious trouble. The politicians may not admit it, but this is the truth.
All right.
They know.
All right.
The money coming from the diaspora is helping the country. Yes, go ahead, sir.
All right. Yes, Prince Onibokun, contextually speaking now, for many that might, perhaps we have some that doesn't understand what the word japa means. It means to flee. Looking at it from that context, it means what are they fleeing from? What are the people fleeing from, especially the young people? Now, I'll give you some statistics. Earlier this year, in May, it was said that almost 100,000 Nigerian students, left the nation left the country to enroll in universities in the UK alone between 2017 and 2022. That was a report that came out in June this year, talking about 5 years between 2017 and 2022. Specifically, 99,985 Nigerian students left the country to enroll in universities in the UK. And now, that enrollment is not, as it is now, it is not just for educational pursuit, it's a route as part of the JAPA syndrome. People take up, seek education abroad, sometimes give them the opportunity to go with their family members, and they see that as an escape route. They move when they are even through with their studies. You'd say that they continue to further the education, because the plan ab initio for most of them is not just for the degree, is to have an opportunity to move their family out of Nigeria into the UK. Now, the Higher Education Statistics Agency, that's HESA, disclosed this, stating that, Nigeria came fourth after China and India among the top countries with their students undergoing academic programs in the UK. In the figures released, there were 10,685 students that enrolled in the UK universities in 2017-18. Not just to bore you and Nigerians with these statistics, because it's out there, it's a public document. It means that's a statement, a kind of report between 2017 and 2022. Now, between 2022 and 2023, your guess is as good as mine. People are living in droves. And this educational route is just one of those routes that people take to flee to jump outside the country. Some take, some programs in Canada, in the UK, in the US as well. Now, you've spoken eruditely, by the way, to some of the reasons why people are fleeing. But it appears, Prince Onibokun, that the situation is not abating at all. And to make it worse, this is affecting our knowledge economy. The medical doctors, the ICT guys, they are moving out in droves. And it appears we are helpless. Prince, help us out.
I said that earlier. When you say people leaving JAPA in terms of looking for educational opportunities, economic opportunities, yes. Again, it comes to politicians. When you feel helpless in your country, when you are graduates coming out of Nigeria, there's no employment. And even those who are still in undergraduate don't have opportunity of employment, where you have to bribe the deans and everybody before you can even get to colleges. But how does this affect Nigerians, you ask in your question? Number one, brain drain. The departure of skilled workers, people, professionals, and young Nigerians results in a brain drain effect, depriving the country of hundreds of human capital necessary to development. The Westerners understand this. And also, whenever they want development, they want improvement in their country. They have to go to countries like Africa with great potentials, and they attract them with good wages. That your country, our country, is not willing to give. So it affects the country. The brain drain is one of them. You are draining the brilliant ones out of the country to develop your already developed countries. And this is a major problem we have. We also talk of economic impact. The loss of young, productive individuals contribute to the country's economic stagnation. Nigeria invests in education, as we know, and training only to lose its investments when these individuals leave. What about dependency on remittances? As I said earlier, many Nigerian families depend on remittances from relatives working abroad, which can create a cycle of economic dependency on those who have left. Social disruption. The departure of youths can disrupt family structures and social communities as they leave behind loved ones. potentially affecting mental health and social cohesion. So when we talk about this, we also have to talk of reduced innovation. A significant loss of innovations and entrepreneurs means that Nigerians may miss out on valuable homegrown talents that will help develop the country economically.
Yeah, Prince.
Yes.
Yes, you know, you've talked about the lack of opportunity for, you know, very skilled, highly skilled Nigerians or graduates who are coming out of schools, or some of them who are even still in school, who the future is looking bleak to them, and that's why, you know, they are jackpying in a manner of speaking. But one will say, how do you connect that it takes millions of naira to jackpot? You have to be, at least have like 5 million, 6 million if it's only you, and you're talking about 9, 10 million if you are moving with your family. Now, Prince, how do you connect somebody, you know, sometimes they sell things, they take loans, but how do you connect that someone who is able to raise 6 million naira and to travel out will still be complaining or saying the reason why he or she is traveling out is because he or she doesn't have opportunity, but the same person has, you know, been able to gather 6, 7 million naira to travel out of the country? How do you connect that? Is it really lack of opportunity?
Let me also tell you that most parents, I'm a Nigerian, I'm proud to be a Nigerian. Most parents will do what it takes to raise money for their children. Sometimes, look at the mothers and fathers, they will sell their houses, they will sell their belongings just to give that child an opportunity, because the country where that child was born has not given that child the opportunity. So, I'll give you an example. Well, I wouldn't say mine. At the time I left Nigeria in after my HSC, and I taught at the South Grammar School. I went to Nigeria. But guess what? My mother and her aunt, and maybe my father gave me some money to go abroad. How much did I arrive to get to the United States? In my passport, in my Nigerian passport, it's $50. We're talking of 1974. $50 is a lot of money those days. By the time I paid the airport tax and leave Lagos and arrived in the United States, I was only left with $35. And guess what? A lot of us who japa, like you said, who japa, will leave. It's not really that easy abroad. Not easy. We have to wash dishes. You have to clean the ass of some people at the hospital. You have to do some of those cleaning that you will never do in Nigeria. Because if you don't do, you can't survive. You have to lift yourself up to a level that you can survive. And then once you can survive with the menial jobs, you're able to pay your school fees, you're able to pay your rent, you're able to pay your gas bill, electric bill. Those you can't do when you are in Nigeria and you're under your parents' guidance.
Oh boy. All right.
Prince, are you there?
There are many doctors in Nigeria, in America, who have no job. Today, there are many Nigerians who have been doctors, who have been lecturers, well known, and are right here in New York City with no job, sleeping on the street. There are many Nigerians with PhDs who are somebody in Nigeria, but now in abroad. Not unless you can get a helper, someone to help you, you'll be stranded. Some are not mental. There are many Nigerian PhDs who are there.
Hello, Prince. Oh boy. Okay, we tried to connect with Prince Dotun Onibokun. And if you're just joining us, we have been looking at the Japa syndrome and the plight of the immigrants abroad, and looking at some of the explanations Prince had been able to reel out to us, quoting from his last side of statement there, some people sleep outside on the homeless. And I wonder if I can put up about 5-6 million naira, why should I go think of going abroad? Because if I'm able to put that kind of money together here, and I put that money in a good business, don't you think it's far better?
Now the question is, what's a good business?
Seriously, Femi, there are quite a whole lot of businesses that one can do with 5 if you are prudent. Because Femi has just gotten himself a brand new ride now. The next thing, because I've got about 5, 6, 7 million, I have to go. Why don't you first of all invest in something that will bring out that kind of beautiful car?
Yeah,
you know
that's right.
I don't know if one has ever been abroad before and you know what it looks like, most especially probably during the winter period, and you are homeless.
Extreme cold.
My brother, I know what it looks like. It's not something to write home about. At times you begin to find some dead bodies on the street because they are homeless. There ain't no place for them to stay. And the cold, when it comes down big time, and I've always said this, that look, if you have the opportunity to travel for the first time, as a first timer, I will not advise maybe during winter. Looking at what it looks like, snow everywhere is always wet. It's
just moving from these, moderately temperate weather
temperature. Yeah, exactly.
To move to -0 kind of degree. And be extremely difficult, really.
You know, for me, I think this boils down to a leadership situation. It wasn't like this in the early 80s. It was far better. Then, even in the early 80s, Nigerians, we were still completely but it was far, far better. Then you know that if you had 10,000 naira, you're a big boy. It's quite a whole lot you used to buy. Put food in the house, and you still got shit. Look at what Prince said. That when he left, he had $50. And by the time he landed
at the other side,
he was left with $35.
Yeah.
I know, not today. It's either you have a very good bank account or you have a relative who is out there. That once you touch down in any of the airports, they welcome you, put you in the car, and take you home.
And that makes me to really wonder, why will you gather 6-7 million naira and then get to the other side to be homeless? How so?
Just like
it boils down to one thing: the grass possibly is not always greener at the other side.
Honestly, you're absolutely right. And I look at this at times that before they can consider you a probably in the UK, a non-American, a non-Canadian, they will first of all consider, that's when you're looking for a job. You consider someone who is from their country. And you then get to find out that the likes of us from the other side
From this side?
From this side, okay, yeah. Will become security guards, dishwashers. You begin to wash dead bodies at the
menial
moment.
jobs.
Very terrible menial jobs to survive. And just like Prince Onibokuntu had.
And that's why you are taking your 6 and 7 million to go and do, by the way.
My brother.
But then someone will tell you, even those menial jobs, as difficult as it is, maybe there's a structure that, is kind of worth it, because if you can work, the thing he said it, and I remember his gesture when he was saying it, as Prince saying, you have to sweat. He did like this, you have to sweat for every penny
to get a dollar
that you earn, really, and that's it as well. But then it's a lot. You're talking about business now, and some will say, yes, 5 million on a business, 6 million, something moderate, which you are passionate about. And then some will now tell you, the ease of doing business is a big factor. We've talked severally about many duplications of taxes you have to pay here. Many persons coming to say this permit, that permit, this. Although we are hearing the government is having another plan about taxes, we had that conversation earlier, so that it will be structured, possibly having a moratorium for some persons as well, especially considering what is happening right now. That quick win report that was released by the tax
Taiwo
committee,
Oyedele.
the Taiwo Oyedele-led tax committee that they gave released last week. But then beyond that, one will say you have a business that is running, that is thriving, but God forbid, the way we usually say around here, you might just be a kidnap away from bankruptcy. Today, that's a fact.
Yeah,
Many persons have been unfortunately kidnapped, and that business have to collapse because they have to raise money anyhow. Sometimes we are just a sickness away from being bankrupt. We've seen persons who got loan to, get a farm for themselves, have people to work on the farm. The thing appears to be blossoming, and then some unfortunate criminals go in there with their cattle. You know what I'm talking about, the Esmen situation. They eat it up. The guy comes and, dejected. What's going on here? And a fight ensued. Guys kidnapped. Sometimes situations have, happened that you see some of those. In fact, there has been a very popular situation that somebody came from abroad to have a business here. He was kidnapped. He was killed in the process. And the kidnappers collected ransom. You now say we should stay here. But then when you flip it to the other side, there are still people having legitimate business here, earning a living for themselves. So sometimes it's not a kind of one-way traffic.
Yeah,
really. And it depends on who you're asking.
You started your analysis by talking about structure.
Yeah.
The structure here with us, to a large extent, is wobbling. That's why Nigerians, because
if there is any.
But to be honest with you, if you have to work, if it's a 4-hour job, if it's a 5-hour job, you want to do
hourly, by the way.
They pay hourly.
Yeah.
And you know that once you're done, you collect.
Yeah,
you're
that's
off.
it.
We don't do such here. It has to be 31 days, naturally, a month.
Which sometimes are not. Who checks the productivity level?
Up to this period in which we are discussing this, there is a place that I worked a couple of years back. They're still owing me over ₦500,000 naira. But I decided to move on because it can't keep happening.
Yeah.
I've got responsibilities, I've got a family, I have to leave and stuff like that. But these are some of the things that it's different out there because you know that you can never work and not get paid. You have your agreement. If things like this can be put in place here in Nigeria, proper structure. I say it and I keep saying it that Nigeria is a beautiful country to stay.
Very. Look, I can't imagine myself. Harmattan will soon be here, by the way. And you see how uncomfortable people can be. Some persons will not bath for days, or you only bath when the sun is out, for you to
I hope you're not telling us what's going to happen.
Let's focus on the matter. You have to wait for the sun to come out because they don't want their chest to be affected. Now, that comes maybe only 2-3 months, just like 2 months, and then we are back to the normal weather. Now, you talk about moving out of this kind of weather into a minus, a kind of weather that is reading minus something, and you are there with a couple of clothes, you see everybody kitted up, and you still have to go to work. That's the thing. You have to come out.
You don't have a choice. You got to go to work. If you're wearing a jacket, you're gonna suit up to the extent. You have your t-shirt, or you probably wear a singlet. You wear a short t-shirt. You wear probably a long sleeve. You have a sweater. You have your waistcoat. Then you put on your jacket. Then when you're moving out, you have the overall jacket. Now tell me how comfortable. I'm not going for war, and that's not a bulletproof. Where it looks like, I know what it looks like.
But you hear it is what it is. Man must survive. But then many persons have gone to that route, and they feel, you know what? The end justifies the means.
And one of the major things that scares me the most is the means at which Nigerians, Africans go.
The means matters.
The die-hard means through the Sahara, through the Mediterranean.
Just to cross over to the other side.
We've seen quite a whole lot of deaths, accidents, incidents on the high sea. For someone like me, when you go water.
So let's even state it there. They still get to pay for these trips
heavily, not just 10,000,
2 million, 3 million, just for, you know, the people in charge, the cartel, to get you across. Sometimes fights happen. You know, one of the rules of life is survivor. When the means of survivor gets thinner, you see people attacking themselves just to get a hold. It might just be a bottle of water. Just, you know what, I might have to dispense of this person for me to move ahead. And then, worse off, they go through all that, killings, you know, survival of the fittest, and then you jump, possibly from Morocco to Spain, and then you are still caught, and then you are jailed. Back to 0 point. That's what it is. But then some have gone through the right route.
Yeah.
But the route being right doesn't mean it doesn't come with its own challenge.
Yeah.
Challenge. You know, I just hope the connection gets better so that we can get on with this conversation. The cultural shock. You're possibly somebody that was born here, grown here, schooled around here. You know, all the support system is around here, and you are moving out of this ecosystem. Not just across the northern part of the country or southern part of the country, you're moving from Agumbelewo in Oshogbo to England.
Oh my.
Or to Canada. Sometimes the language is not even yours. If you move to Germany, God help you. You find yourself in a community of people that speak English, even in Switzerland, or you go to France, or some part of Canada as well. The cultural shock, the language thing, sometimes you have to be doing sign language because possibly the community doesn't really speak what to speak.
Yeah.
And you have to fit in. You have to work. Those language, you know, barriers sometimes will even hamper you from getting a good job because you can't communicate. And now you've taken Iya Alashos 100,000, Iya Elepo's 2 million, lab, you know, kind of companies that give out loans.
The microfinance.
You know, some persons have put out their earnings, you yourself, to say, they say, people make it at the other side. Let's give you and ransack everything. Just like Prince Onibokun said, saying people have to, you know, come together. And by the way, he was talking about 1974. What happened in 1974 is not Japa. He wanted to travel. People feel you to travel. But now is an exodus. And that is what is going on. Now, when you gather some of these things and you go to the other side, and then you know, possibly at Heathrow or any of these airports, and then you say, thank God, you know, I'm here, and then the thing dawns on you. What next? How do I repay? Many persons, when they are on loans today, they are still repaying.
That's why
today. People here are.
That's why I would just advise us and just say that, look, out there, you don't pick monies on the ground. Monies don't grow on trees.
Tell us.
Just like Prince had rightly stated as well, that for every dollar you have to make out there, you sweat.
You got to do that.
You work. The white man, if God helps you, you're probably a security officer to welcome people in a supermarket, groceries.
You have to stand there.
You have to stand.
Throughout your shift.
If you sit, I know what it looks like. Your white man will come out. Then you hear the story of how you got to the US.
As long as we are trying to be real and lay it out there, because that's the purpose of this conversation, for you to make your decision. That's what we do here, to have provoke this conversation so that you have an informed opinion about your next line of action. And that's what this program is going to cultural shock. And sometimes some persons feel ostracized. They don't feel welcomed into that community. So what do? You know, in the middle of others, some tends towards possibly social groups to find help. Some tends toward religious organizations to find help. But then we get to interrogate these further. We'll go on a short break right now. The program will return is about the Japa syndrome and how is it at the other side. Stay with us.
Welcome back. It's still Morning Spring right here from Western Spring Television. And if you're just joining us, we're looking at the Japa syndrome and the state at which, and the plight of immigrants abroad. What does this look like? We have been speaking with Prince Dotun Onibokun, who is based in New York and sharing quite a whole lot. He's a very veteran broadcaster who has been with the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, well, the TSOS, before it became BCB, became BCOS. Also, he was with the NTA for quite a whole lot of years.
Yeah.
He's been sharing with us quite a whole lot of experience and what it looks
And
like.
he's a scholar as well.
A scholar of great repute as well. But we're trying to connect with him. Network situation a little bit funny, but the engineers, the technical team are on that. But by and large, Femi and I will just we'll keep looking.
Yeah.
Looking at the state at which youths, you know, the younger generation. I just don't want to say youths. Even those of us who, we still got a little bit of strength. We're still young. Yeah. Looking at the state at which everybody wants to move out of this country. What do you think this portended for the economy of our dear nation, Nigeria?
Of course, the economy, the statistics, the figures are there, and it's already in our faces right now. Especially, let's contextualize and bring it home one after the other. Look at the health sector, the guys that are moving. Somebody give you an appointment, possibly you go to a hospital this time, and then when you're done, you are given an appointment for 6 weeks to come back. And the doctor gives you the appointment. By the time you return, most likely you won't see the same doctor again, not because he or she is not on shift, because the doctor has jackpot. That's it. You know, many persons, you and I know at least a couple of persons who are medical doctors who have left. In fact, there was a particular unit in a particular teaching hospital that 3 of their senior registrars left.
What? Registrars?
Registrars left. And we're talking about a unit that is not even properly manned ab initio. I'm talking about the neurosurgery unit, the psychiatry unit rather, in which you don't see many of them available in the first place. Now you have 3 moving in space of 2 months. You know, so what becomes of that particular unit? A psychiatry unit, by the way, that you don't get to see many psychiatrists, by the way. But then you talk from the unit to the gynecology ward to the pediatrics, and that is what is happening. The ICT guys are moving in droves because they are being paid in dollars, by the way. And then there was a time, and it's still happening, by the way, like a year ago, 6 months ago, in which many banks were having technical issues.
Yeah.
And you know what? Your guys is as good as mine.
The guys are not moved here.
Their guys have moved to greener pasture to earn in dollars. You know, that's what is going on. And you know, it's not easy to get new graduates and to train them to, you know, fix them into the system. Even when you do, you are at the risk of the same person leaving in the next 6 months or a year. You know, and that is why we have found ourselves.
One other thing whereby Prince Onibokun made mention of, and I feel a little bit sad, is he made mention of looking at some of the people working with the President of the United States, Mr. Joe Biden.
Yeah.
About 5 of them are Nigerians.
Of Nigerian background.
Of Nigerian background. If these guys were here, they probably will not be irrelevant. And looking at the United States, where if you can work in the White House, that means you've got something. You've got quality.
Of course.
Just like if you can work with Nassau Rock as well.
You will have been
I'm
faced
not
with,
honestly.
as a black person, as
exactly
an African American, before getting to that pedestal of working at the White House. You know, that's a significant office, by the way. And beyond the White House, many Nigerians, black people, are excelling in different endeavors of theirs in academics. You know, Prince Onibokun said it, Nigerians are doing fantastically well. They are the most educated of the black race, by the way. I think I've said it on this forum before, and let me reiterate that point again. That I was going through the social media one day, and I saw a particular post in which, in a hospital, I think a very big hospital, a tertiary hospital, what you could call a tertiary health sector, by the way, in which the persons on that night shift for that day were Nigerians. Everybody on the shift that are professionals, the doctors, the nurses, the radiographers. So they got to the shift and they look at themselves and they interacted. Oh, we are all Nigerians. And so they took a picture. It was something good to see. Very glad to see that Nigeria and Nigerians are excelling in their different, you know, chosen fields. But then when you flip the book to the other side, you just shake your head because you know that this is what could have been. This is kind of people that could have been at UBTH, that could have been at the UCH, in UAUTHC, in different private hospitals doing well, contributing their quota to the economy, to the X sector of Nigeria. But then they are in the red and the blue side of the world with the 50 or 51 flags. I mean, stars there, talking about the U.S. And, you know, talking about the New York, New York is called the city of opportunity, by the way. But it depends on the kind of opportunity.
I don't want to use what, because I know what it looks like. New York. New York is like Lagos, but by and large, it's a very good state.
Of course, that's it. I intentionally said that because the opportunity we are talking about depends on the one that you are
hoping to get.
Illegal ones, you have it. Legal ones, you have it.
Honestly, and yeah, I would say it's nice to travel.
Of course,
get something
it's
done.
It's part of education.
Yeah. Quite a whole lot of things, sightseeing, so much to learn the culture and what have you there. But I would still make mention of the fact that please, whatever you need to do, please do it the right way.
Yeah, and count your cost.
Hey, do
That's
it the
very
right
important.
way.
Do it the right way and count the cost.
If you have to spend 5 million, 6 million to travel, and you are going to be on the streets of Tennessee or Philadelphia or Massachusetts, wherever,
because things didn't go rightly.
Their police, the security system there is something else. Yeah, we have the wrong ones amongst them, though.
Of course.
You could just be inside the next container and you're coming back home.
sadly, by the way. But then is another thing that we should, I wish the network will just cooperate with us today, the technical issues we are having, but you know, we overcome that. It's the fact that if people of goodwill that I feel like, what? I'm traveling the world, I'm going to make it at the other side. And then they get there, they go through what they have to go through, get the many jobs, they get working, but things appear not to be really working for them. The bad thing or the ironic thing is those kind of persons don't get to return home because the social expectation, the expectation of their people that have sent them there is the next 2-3 years, man, we get to be balling because some of them have invested rightly in you. Yeah. People with 10 naira, 10,000, 50,000, the whole community, the whole family are putting it together to say, you know what, Mr. X, our son, is in the abroad. The way they say is in the abroad. And after some time, they are not getting something back. And then you see those persons, and you know the other person in the abroad now, some of them might get to cut connection with the people home because of the pressure they are getting. You know what? Yeah. Let me just cut connection from these people. When I make it, with inverted commas now, when I make it, I will find my way back to them. And then things not working for them. First month, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. And the people at home possibly are apprehensive. What's going on? Or as our brother make it and forget about us, not knowing that even the brother at the other side is not having a rose. Many of them are in jail for some things they know about. Some of them are in jail for because they are black and somebody doesn't like them. Some of them are there for what they have done themselves as well. But they don't get to return. That's where you get to hear people being abroad for 5, 6, 10 years without connection back home because things they don't appear to be changing. And they look at themselves, is this how we go back to Nigeria? So they just get to be working and doing so many things. But then we must take the obvious as well, that many persons have gone through this route, they jackpot, and things are working for them. Yeah. And then they are thanking their stars, thanking their God for taking that decision when they take it as well. So it's not like it's a story of gloom and doom. Yeah. At least with what we hear, with what we see, with what you know. But then, just like you said, if we are going through it the right way.
That's the best.
And then count the cost. Ask proper information. Know where you are even going. Because, for example, in the US, there are different time zones there, almost 3, 4, 5 time zones, even in the same country. Yeah, absolutely. And absolutely. So it's not that I'm in America and then you pick dollars from the ground, man. I'm going to be balling. For every dollar you have,
you sweat to make it. Yeah, by and large, while we're still trying to see how to get back with Prince Onibokun, we're still looking at the Japa syndrome and the plight of immigrants abroad. It's nice to travel to, even if it's not in the more developed nations, the US, the Canadas, the Germany, or France. But yeah, looking at other countries of the world, you want to say...
And by the way, Nigerians travel. We do. In New Zealand, far away Australia, you get to see community of Nigerians.
All right, let me give you an experience quickly. I remember there was a time I left Lagos I was going to Abuja. My flight was delayed, so I couldn't meet up. But getting to Abuja, I didn't know my way, so I had to sleep at the airport. Then at about 3 a.m. on that very beautiful day, I just laid somewhere on the bench there. And I heard the sound speaker, the announcer on the speaker, for departure to the United States, please begin to file in. And I got up and I looked at the numbers of people
that are traveling,
living at that 3 a.m. I'm like, God, so this is how people live. And that's just one day that I was, not to now talk about 7 days in a week. That's how it goes.
And a month, and a year, and the intensity of that drive. That, you know, once somebody tells somebody, once you can gather some money, go to Canada, in next than a year or two, the end will justify the means. Sometimes it does work out, sometimes it doesn't work out like that. But no, just be sure of the person you are talking to, so that you won't be tricked into selling everything you have worked for to move to the other side without proper orientation. I like to go back to the cultural shock. You know, for some persons that term themselves traditionalists, I'm a cultural person. I get to eat pounded yam after service every Sunday, and then and then you go to Finland, and then you are even struggling to have the basic bread and tea. Talk less of you approaching an African kitchen for you to eat pounded yam, every Sunday afternoon, or you feel like, oh, this is not spicy. Madam, put pepper. You won't have that kind of person, or you feel like eating bread and akara in the morning. You know, these are the considerations. Really. You could leave the studio after work and then you drive down and you know where you can get something. But it doesn't happen that way.
It doesn't.
Even your akara, you might have manual with your akara. If you forget to say akara, it's kind of akara that we have manual. They're telling you how to eat it and what to eat it with.
No, naturally, for a place like somewhere in Atlanta, I know Yakalaba, but it's expensive.
Okay.
You have the Nigerian delicacies, but it's expensive. But it takes maybe But maybe once in a month you go there. Let me.
But that won't be your first month. By the way,
I know.
Because these are some of the issues. So some persons have said, you know what? I knew somebody who traveled abroad, who worked for some time, and he feels this school won't kill me. I can't. Somebody, a real top professionals who had to relocate back to Nigeria and doing fantastically well now, who just feel, talking with him, he said, I don't belong there. I don't belong. I just have to come back. Not because he's lazy. He just feel, if I continue this way,
I'm going to die here.
I'm going to die. I get to come back, and he's doing fantastically well. Now, there are many persons like that who feel they try to fit in. We are not telling people to not overcome challenges, but some will just feel, you know what, I've tried all I can at this point. Or here I come, or Bongo here I come, or Lagos here I come.
Seriously.
The cultural shock is something
it's quite different.
And that's the kind of conversations that people don't get to have more. It's all about the ambition. It's all about touching down at Heathrow, and then you take a picture and saying, Nigerians, I ain't coming bye bye, I don't go. But then beyond that, the kind of dress you just talked about, possibly having 6-7 layers of clothing on your body just because you want to come out, and then they still come out, and then you're still shivering. You see people come out and
still wear hand gloves.
People park their cars, and by the time they come out in the morning, they are looking for the location of the car because the cars have been covered with. They have to get the shovel, and then many persons have done videos to say, you know what you are going through. And that's how some of us, people over there say, we sent you $50 and you are complaining it's not enough. There was a funny video of somebody that was cursing everybody that will say he's stingy because of what is going through here.
I wish you understand.
What is really happening in that place as well. But then the technical age has been an albatross today on this program. But then the reason for this conversation is to have us interrogate that process. the ambition is fine. People have been traveling from years immemorial, from the BCs, you know, before Christ to the ADs. It's part of life. In fact, traveling is part of education. Or some would say, and as it is right now, you have to really count the cost. Be ready, you know, to give it all it takes legally. Just like Tunde said, legally. That's the bottom line of it. And you know, talking about Jack Randolph on this program, news had it like 2 or 3 weeks ago that a popular musician had his two of his band boys, Japa. They went to the UK, and then the two band boys left.
My goodness.
A popular, you know, musician, and then he had to go and report at the police station. And many are wondering, why will you do that?
Yeah, they know best.
They know why they do that, right? But then they become fugitive.
Obviously,
they keep running.
Because
in the UK.
If you don't know your way around wherever, except it's kind of like dicey. It's funny if. And
by the way, that situation is not just
the right thing.
It's not the right thing, and it's not new. Many persons have. I think there was a time. I'm talking about K1, the ultimate. There was a time it was some of the band boys of Yinka Ayefele that absconded, and then some of the legends have had similar situations before. But then those that absconded, many of them will never come out to say this is what we went through, because at that point you are a wanted. The way we say it. You're wanted.
Fugitive, and
fugitive
your face is going to be everywhere.
Pillar to pole. That's it. You know, it's not an unstructured system like we have here. That somebody can move from Okini to Agumbelo to Ofa without nobody really.
Immediately you're landing. Your database, the database has the day you arrived, the time you're supposed to leave, the address where you are going, the name of your next of kin. It's quite a whole
your whole life, your whole system.
Everything
your
is
social media
on
handles.
That social
everything
media
is
database
as well. And these
social
are
security is
of the issues people keep having. And you see some of them who are fugitive, who will never be regularized into the system, spend 30 years, they can't come back. Because the moment they venture to come back, is either they are caught, and if they are not caught, they can't return. Because something is broken in that system.
That probably is But I think we sincerely apologize that we couldn't reconnect with Prince Dotun Onibokun, who actually was giving us quite a whole lot of information and enlightening us concerning the Japa syndrome and the plight of immigrants abroad. It definitely will not be the end. One of these days, again, we'll go back to it and let him give us a broader perspective.
Sunday, you know, before we round it off, I knew there was a video that surfaced last week about somebody in Canada, a woman who was crying about loneliness. Did you see the video?
Really? No.
Oh, wow.
She's lonely at the top.
That's not even at the top. At the other, she's lonely at the other side. You know, we should not be laughing about this. But then she was bitterly crying how life has been boring and lonely, especially when you don't have that support. You are not within your people. But, you know, just like I said, man must survive. And she's there and warning people, know what you are getting into. It's not always like that. You might even be earning the dollars, you know, in bits. But then, you might get to earn the dollars, trickling in bit by bit, and then you are making your savings. But then there have been some days you look out for yourself, you look up to the sky, you look to your left and your right, and you are the only one around. No support system, somebody to say, you know, this and that. And the lady went further. I mean, was crying and crying, either real or not, because people do so many things for skits these days. But then what she was trying to pass, the message she was trying to pass across is the fact that it's not always rosy. The part of loneliness is there, and it's not everybody's mental health that can take that.
Absolutely.
You know, don't let's even mention about people who are lonely marital-wise, and they're finding it difficult to connect, especially with people from their hood, because everybody is busy. I didn't come here to come and marry. I come here to make money, which is a concern. Many things to interrogate, really. But then we call it a wrap on this program today. We've been able to interrogate this process in our own little bit, you know, before the technical itch that we had. We get to return on this program tomorrow as well, you know. And as we sign off, by the way, before you even get to the other side, the visa application, by the way, sometimes if you are lucky and you are blessed, you get it once. Some have had different kind of deniers upon deniers. And
Passport
deniers doesn't come, do I say cheap now? It doesn't come free. You are talking about dollars. You apply, you are denied. You come back again, you are denied. Money is going. It's unrefundable fee.
The visa fee as at today is almost about 160,000.
Only.
Okay.
Only.
All right.
You know, as it sounds. So the visa application is even there. You don't want to ask people the kind of stress they've gone through. I mean, they've gone through just to apply to JAPA. And then when they JAPA, man, as we go on the program, if you see somebody from the other side, send you some dollars.
Appreciate
say
that
some
person.
prayers for them.
I appreciate that person.
Of course, to know that it's not always easy. That will be the size of the program today. Femi Ojo is my name. I'm still here, you know, by the way. We get to be here tomorrow as well. By the time we come, it will be the 1st of November, the first for the month, and it promises to be very exciting as well. Please do well to follow us on all our social media platforms, and of course, on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. God bless Nigeria. And as I usually say and pray, may Nigeria prosper in our time and beyond. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Today, though, is my name at Irresistible TDNX. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Ooh, lovely family. I like this, your boy.
Say, Uncle, how are you? Yeah, great, Uncle. How are you?
Yes, I love this family. Beautiful family. Where are you people going to?
I think everything should be included there.
Okay. I can see that you people filed for immigration for you put the impact exam.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hey, but I don't even know what is in this Canada all of you are running to. You know, if by the grace of God, me, I'm a traveler too. I've been there a few times and that country is very cold. Very cold, mortuary standard. I don't know all of you are running there. Eh? Now you have come to apply for Canada for holiday. Who they go freezer for holiday? Nobody goes to such countries for holiday, Chapo. So what's the guarantee that if I give you this visa, you will come back? Because you filed for immigration before you wanted to run. So why am I sure that if I give you this visa, you will come back?
So we're definitely going to come back. I can give you my word on that one.
What do I want to use your word for? What am I doing with your word? If you want to give me something, you say, silver and gold, I have none. No. Take this thing. I know that you hold it for me. I know that you're coming back in good faith.
But sir, my word is all I have. You are definitely going to come back. So we are not fugitives now.
Then you have nothing. You have nothing if it's all your word that you have to give me. Are you going to eat word when you go to Canada? You're not even ready to travel. You understand? You're not serious. You wanted to scam the Canadian government. It not work. Now you want to come and scam me. Okoro. Ask them about me. Original Dangbana Shoko. That's who I am.
Okay. Scam which Canadian government? What are you talking about? We'll definitely be here for this immigration visa next year.
And you will be denied again. If I'm in this place, in fact, you don't even qualify for this thing. So you cannot show me. I'm here for almost how many hours talking to you. You cannot even show me any sign or something that you are ready to travel. No sign whatsoever from you. See, but even Jesus that brought the word to us, he did not survive on only word. He ate bread, he went for feast, he visited people, he ate things. No sign. Don't show me any sign.
We'll come back. That is 20,000 naira. Hold it for us. I'm sure when we come back next year, you'll be here to help us with our process and all of that, you know.
Madam, I've been looking at you since. Like when you came here, I could see virtue all over your face. You're a virtuous woman. If not for you, this man is nothing. I see you, madam. Oga, you better hold this your wife. Because only you alone, with this your word, you will not go far. Do you attain word of life? You are rolling your eye. Whether now you, now your destiny, your ring, I help this man. If not for you, are you sure only your son don't want to go? Let this man not go and spoil the word for you. I'll just give you and your family because of you. Because for me, I will leave him in Nigeria. Let him be surviving on word. I take.
If you give me my passport, Joe. I'm gonna give me my passport.
It's because of you.
Nonsense.
Go and eat words there. It's what you used to give them in Canada. They hear this man. Word. What's all this? What happen? Now what the man say me read, now what they give me, and what now they use. If you reach, you can tell them when they use word for you. Now what the man give me, Francis, not the
shop the word now.
Oh yeah, maybe we go eat words. The word of God, the word of the hell now words. The wife they call you say, it's word I have word. The wife gets sense pass. And the wife go help that man. No, what they give me. No, I don't know man that they beg me for. Now word. Now what I get.